Welcome to the Squad Games Podcast. Squad Games Podcast.
Yeah, so actually about that, I do want to talk about the baseball bat and knives thing because I was listening to the episode with Shane earlier, and I feel like I can definitely weigh in on this conversation.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like the thing with the baseball bat is, I think Shane in the podcast said, you know, one shot to the head with the baseball bat and like you're done.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know how hard it is to hit somebody in the head when they're like moving? Like
it's very difficult.
You're swinging at a moving target.
I watched a prison video earlier today that beautifully indicated the bat versus knife and who would win. So let's continue this one. So it's hard to hit them, huh?
Yeah. I feel like it would be harder to hit somebody in the head with a baseball bat than it would be to stab somebody repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I saw a prison video today of a guy who had a broom. Yes, a broom is not a bat. I understand. And was trying to whack this guy. And the guy got one stab on him, and then he dropped the broom and then got stabbed a bunch more times. Both lived. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah. That's why our podcast is now explicit, right?
No, we dropped words on the podcast a couple times, and I got tired of editing them out, so I just said, "Fuck it, it's gonna get explicit."
Okay. Oh my god, he did it again!
I can't be stopped. This is the Squad Games Podcast. I'm Giacomo. That's Dakotah, and today we're joined by Ryan, and we're having a heated conversation about bats and knives.
We are.
All right. so bats and knives, you know.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any good like hot chicken places out there, Ryan? Or you like?
Yeah, actually. So I actually just came back from Buffalo, which is a little bit west of from where Rochester is. But I went to Duff's and I got some hot wings there.
Duff's,
and they were very good. Yeah, Duff's and Anchor Bar are like the two most well-known wing places in Buffalo.
Not Buffalo Wild Wings. What?
Hell no, not Buffalo Wild Wings, dude.
My mind is blown.
God.
Duff's Famous Wings. This place.
Yeah, I actually don't know if there's a Buffalo Wild Wings in Buffalo.
That is actually.
I feel like that would be the type of place to get run out of town. Oh. It's like, you know how Pizza Hut is like nobody out pizzas the Hut. Like in Rochester, there has not been a Pizza Hut for like the past like 10 years, I think. Like the last one closed during the recession, and we have not seen them since.
Everyone's out pizzaing the Hut.
Yeah, everyone can out pizza the Hut, as it turns out. Specifically,
Domino's. I think.
Yeah, dude, Domino's applies pressure, as someone I know likes to say.
Dude, their national deal is $6.99 for any 2 item of carry out options. I understand why they haven't died yet.
Yeah, and the fact that you can get like a $6.99 to like to go pizza box out here is kind of nuts.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, feeding America, really. They're doing a community service with that price.
They're doing the emperor's work.
Yeah.
In between a battle of Domino's versus Little Caesars, like.
Little Caesars had to increase their price recently. I don't know.
Did they? Are they not $5 anymore? Hot and ready?
I don't think so. Let me check. Little Caesars.
Yo, what the hell? How am I going to go to Carlos's backyard party with like Tecate and Little Caesars now?
I don't know who.
You don't even have like.
Did you just say Little Carlos's backyard?
Nah. So there was this joke I had in college.
Okay.
With my friend, he goes, "No, you go to like Julio's backyard party." It was always some Hispanic name, because you can't afford anything, so you just get Little Caesars and Tecate because that's the cheapest beer you could buy. You can substitute Natty Ice. That's fine too. It's cheap.
I would rather have the Tecate. 110%.
We were in Utah playing a game called Drinking Quest, and all we could find was Natty Ice.
Yo, so Drinking Quest, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was actually made by somebody in Rochester.
What?
It's like a board game with a red box, right? Or no, maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Are you thinking Red Dragon Inn?
No,
Red Dragon Inn's great.
no.
I mean, there's a lot of drinking games. It's just the one I
maybe
know
it
of.
is.
So
It looks like it's gotten a few different like rehashes of the box art.
That's probably
I don't
true.
know. I might be mistaken, but I thought that was the case. Anyways,
Little Caesars has gone up almost 8%. They are at $8.
oh, that is not adjusting for inflation.
Yeah, at all.
80
For Little Caesars?
They're at $8.49 for a hot and ready classic pepperoni.
What the hell?
Yeah, the cheese stuffed ones crust is $11.99. Now here's the thing. I like me some. This was like my college jam back in the day, but like it did not freeze well, it did not refrigerate well, it did not warm up well. In fact, half the time it tastes like plastic. And college man, that's a perfect thing. Plastic, eating it, but
I don't need plastic.
You know
I don't know if I can
how
eat
much
plastic
microplastics are in our blood right now as we
Oh
speak?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
we're-
drank a lot of water bottles.
We're like
way
50%.
too much.
Yeah, we're like 50% plastic.
Part plastic, man. You could be on a sprue soon.
Ooh,
Screwed humans.
Sprumans. Ew, that sounds gross. But yeah, Little Caesars, man.
So Shane, when we were at Nova,
Mhm.
was telling us about the armies that you would paint, and he was like, "Oh, like Ryan, like, oh, like I really want to paint, Ultramarines, and then you move to Black Templars, and then you move to Chaos, and you seem to have this theme of mech boys, chunky boys, similar to Giacomo. Does any Xenos fit your fancy, or do you just paint up human arms?
So I really loved painting up the Hand of the Archon kill team.
Nice.
That was a
Yep.
lot of fun because I just used the same colors that I used for the Night Lord's kill team.
Mhm.
I painted up for Shane's Legionnaires, and but I just used a few different techniques.
Yeah.
I was painting them up, and I basically just tried to like follow the vibe of like the box art for them. So like
Okay.
use some like cyberite green for like the tassels and the eyes and everything. Kept it like a super simple color palette, just like 6 colors at most, I think. But yeah, they came out really good. They're not done yet. They're very close to being done. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun playing them too. And then I painted up a orc combat patrol for a combat patrol league that I ran.
Do you have pics of the green skin? Do you have pics?
There will be a video coming out soon.
Nice. Okay.
It's not gonna be on the Command Point channel, but when it's for a the hobby shop that I work at in Rochester, Millennium Games, and it's actually the biggest. It's the biggest board and hobby like card game shop in the country now by square footage.
Really?
So,
Wow.
Yeah. So the YouTube channel for that, there will be a video going over how I painted up that orc army or that orc combat patrol up very soon. I'm almost done editing it, and that was all done using the old Army Painter speed paints.
Okay.
So that I think I got it all
the
done.
stuff that used to reactivate if you didn't seal
yeah.
it. Was it a pain in the ass, or did you just not notice?
No, because I would just do like one color a day.
Okay.
Or like one color like per painting session. So I like would do all the skin, and I did all the armor plates. Then I did, and I didn't have many issues with rehydration. I did have a few on the days where I was like, okay, I'm gonna like crunch this and try and get it done as fast as I can. But like it was mostly like darker tones, so like browns, grays, and blacks. So it's like if they mix together in the recesses, you can't see it on the tabletop, and they look fine. But that was the fastest I think I've ever painted anything, and I got it done in a little over 2 weeks.
Oh, very
just
nice.
over 2 weeks, and that's including the build time because like everything in that box is a push to fit model. So yeah, I probably wouldn't do something like that again and try and cram it in that short a time frame. Because that's all I did for 2 weeks when I wasn't working, was painting those models.
Now,
The new speed paints, though, they're great. And I
Yeah?
really wish I had the metallic speed paints when I was recording that video, because I've been using them recently on some Crisis Protocol models that I've been painting up, and the metallics, the speed paint metallics, look awesome.
so this is an interesting segue. What do you guys? Is that your favorite metal range right now, or do you have like, or is it just like the pure efficiency of it that you enjoy about it?
It's the pure efficiency of it. The way I look at like paints now in terms of like their ranges is I look at each one as kind of like a different tool in the toolbox. So
Mhm.
like when I was painting up Magneto's like cloak, I went
Mhm.
over it with like the new Hive, I think it's called like Hive Dweller Purple
Mm-hmm.
is the speed paint. But like in some areas, it pools weird because it's just a big, not like flat area, but there are big flat areas on
Yeah.
this cape. So
Mhm.
I would just color match it as best I can with like a Citadel layer paint, and then just go over and clean it up basically.
That's the
I'm not
best way
going
to
to
do it.
exclusively use like speed paints in a project if I know I can take a little bit more time and make it look better.
Totally understand. That's how I use them. I mean, I use a lot of contrast and paints like that.
Mhm.
Does anyone here have the express range
Nope.
of
No,
Vallejo?
I've never heard of that range.
So express range is the Vallejo's version of contrast paints. So essentially there's like 4 major ones on the market, right? We have contrast, we have speed paint, we have the express color range, and then we have the dipping inks from Green Stuff World. All with different properties, to say the least.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Duncan Rhodes will come out with one eventually.
Gosh, I hope so. I
and
love the
prob-
too thin coat stuff too.
Yeah,
The
there's
white,
some.
I think it might be called Holy White,
Mhm.
but that's like the best white on the market.
You think so?
Yeah, by far and away.
Okay. Well, I have my feelings about the Monument Hobbies white. I think it's a great white, but it's not very translucent. So if you're trying to make like almost an ink wash with it, it's actually harder to do it with the Monument Hobbies one. And I tend to use the Vallejo one for that. So I've never tried any of the too thin coats stuff yet. So maybe it is the best. Who knows?
Yeah, my favorite white that I currently have is the AK 3rd gen white, and it's just like, I don't know what it is about it. Though I haven't tried the Duncan Rhodes just quite yet. So
I don't think we have a place that sells them out here, right?
Duncan Rhodes, I think Games at Your Place now sells it, it used to be Gameology out here. But I believe they have a new range they do carry that paint range right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make a trip to Pasadena.
Yeah. 1 or 2. Got to go out and get some spray paints anyways. But back to metallics. My favorite metallic is the Vallejo metal color. They come in the bigger pots and they're super thin. They go through an airbrush really well, and they paint on to black over black really well as well. G, do you have a favorite metallic?
In terms
of okay.
Oh no, we can both go.
We're both go.
We're all going to go on this, so don't worry.
Okay.
In terms of metallics, I'm using 3 metallics for everything. I use what is it called? I can't remember its name right now. I use Stormhost Silver. I think it was Rune Lord
Probably
Copper.
like
It's
Rune
like
Fang Steel.
No, I don't use Rune Fang Steel anymore. I moved away from that color. I actually don't like it anymore. And what's the gold that they have that came out when Age of Sigmar came out, or the Stormcast
Retributor armor?
Yeah, Retributor armor. And I use a mix of those 3 colors to create different variations of golds, coppers, and silvers. And sometimes I mix white in there too. So realistically, those are my favorite, but also that's the only 3 I own currently, and they've worked fine.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
All right.
like blending metals here.
How about you, Ryan? I have a very distinct way of painting metals.
Okay. So I've been having a lot of fun with the speed paint metallics, like I've said, but from the Citadel line, my two favorites are going to be the Runelord Brass and I believe it's Iron Warriors. And I
Okay.
use those on basically everything. And the Runelord Brass, it says brass in the name, but like to me, at least to my eye, it looks like almost like a brushed gold.
Yeah, that's
like
what
a
it is.
very cold, like silver gold, I guess is one way to describe it. But like all of my Black Templars, every sort of like gold metallic bits they have, that's that color that I use.
Mm.
Because I ran into this problem with using Retributor armor when I was painting Ultramarines, is that it almost is like too yellow of a gold.
Yeah, it's a very
It
warm.
just didn't look right to me. So like I would have to throw Agrax Earthshade over everything. But like the Runelord Brass, like I don't even know if all of them have like a wash thrown over them. It just looks that good out of the pot.
Agreed. It's a good color.
Yeah. The Iron Warriors, it's just Lead Belcher, but it's like a shade darker.
Mm-hmm.
So same reasons.
It's a good color.
But yeah, I love Runelord Brass. Like I think it's my favorite paint. Period.
Wow, that's a hell of a love for a color.
I think I have. So I really like the metal Vallejos, right? The for silvers, and then my favorite gold is the Retributor armor. I just think it like covers really well. It's really pretty. You can change the tone with so many different colors. But yeah, I don't think there's any other golds for me that really nail it out of the park. Now you have to remember you are talking to a colorblind artist, so
don't worry. I don't think there's any greens or reds in Retributor armor, so you can see golds pretty well.
All right. Well, you might be mistaken. I mean, maybe. When I was first learning how to paint golds, somebody told me that you get an aged gold look by painting Dark Angel's green underneath it. So instead of starting with a black, you start with that, and you can work your way up, mixing Dark Angel's green into the gold, and then finishing it off with like Retributor armor. And it adds like since they're both complementary colors, since like Retributor armor is much more of a warm gold, they're complementary to each other as well. This is what people said, and when I would paint it, I was like, "Yeah, this looks fucking dope." And then I was like, "I'm colorblind. I don't know." But I mean, it is what it is, right? But yeah, that would be one of my favorites from. I really only use that, and I use a couple of their copper colors from GW. I don't use any more of their silvers or anything like that anymore. Just grown away from them over time. Yeah, that's at least my gold and silver range palette. Especially like when I start doing a lot of like Necrons or something like that, I tend to go to like more airbrush, like enamels and stuff like that they have that really high sheen, just because I like the contrast. I really like using my favorite varnish to use is Ultramat from AK. Have either one of you used Ultramat before?
Nope.
Confession time.
Yeah.
I don't
no.
use varnishes.
No,
Oh, yeah?
I felt that coming.
My models are just
Holy
raw dog in
shit.
life, man.
Man,
yeah?
do you wear gloves at least? God damn.
I'll wear gloves when I'm like airbrushing something.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, actually, that's not true. On my Black Templars, the recipe that I was following called for you prime them black, and then you use a matte. You put a matte varnish over the armor.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that like somewhat helps with like the
blending,
this weathering, like you take Mornfane brown and you just water it down until it's like a wash basically. And then you can use that to apply what looks like rust into like the crevices and stuff. And I guess that helps with it. I don't know the science behind it.
Yeah, none of us are scientists. We just follow recipes like we're little bakers.
Yep. That's all we are. We're just bakers, guys.
Yeah. No, that's cool though.
That is cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ultramat. It really does this really cool effect to your paints. The problem is it fucking wrecks your metallics. And you know, some people really like that effect. For me, I was like, I want my metallics to look metallic, so I found a new varnish called Vallejo metal varnish, and I put that over my metals after I've done it, and it brings back this super nice lustery sheen. So not only do you get like I know my last name's Lester. You get this.
I hope so. It's yours.
You get this really nice effect for quite a few different things. Like you get this crazy cool. How should I say? It's like not only is the colors matte and everything else is like blended that way, but you get a different contrast between the matte colors and then the shiny colors, because now there's like a sheen to it. So it adds another level of contrast to your models in general. And I don't know, I'm super into that right now. Super, super into it.
Yo, I still use the GW spray. That shit works fine.
Yes, I know you do, G. We've had multiple sad conversations.
They've messed me over too many times.
It's fine,
and it's uniform with everything else that you got.
Yep, semi-gloss satin finish keeps my metallics nice, keeps my mattes matte. That's good enough for me. Give it about a day to fully dry and cure, and it looks great. I don't know. People don't like it. That's cool, man. You know, you can do the Dakotah style. Throw it through an airbrush. You know, whatever. Yeah. Some people I've seen do it from a pot, which I thought that's whack, but okay. That one's whack because like, how do you get consistency? Like when I used to use, when I was first learning how to paint, there was the GW1 Ard Coat. I think it was called Ard Coat, and I used to use that over transfers. And like I was thinking, man, you can get this mostly smooth, but not quite because you're using a paintbrush.
Ard Coat was awful. Dude.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I still have my original pot because I never finished using it because it's not great. It's there to remind me that once I bought this.
Yeah, I loved how they used to try to make like everything like super lore wise, like Ard Coat because it's orky shine. It's like, no, don't do that. It's not, but it's so bad.
It's a bad, not a great product. You know, they make other good products. This was not the one.
Yeah. Speaking of which, do you use like a medium at all? Like Lamian or what's the other one?
Contrast is the
big
big
contrast
one. Contrast medium. No, not really. All of my. So like actually I'll use medium if I'm looking to transfer some paint out of pots and into dropper bottles to help get some of it off. Or if I have something that's dried out a little bit, I will put a healthy amount in there and then try mixing it and then hopefully try and resuscitate it. I got to get one of those. They're like $80, but like you put the paint, it's like a paint pot shaker or something.
Oh, those vortex mixers?
The vortex mixer
for
or whatever.
Class.
Yeah, I never used one of those in a science class, but yeah, I got to get me one of those.
My shake game is strong.
From
I
experience,
thought so
those
too,
are pretty
but
cool.
after the third time of sitting down and shaking my pot of Xandri dust,
it became.
I'm just like, man, this is like 3 days in a row, and it's just dying, just dying.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I like Monument Hobbies. They have like paint shakers inside them already, so that's like super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought like those Army Painter like steel bearings, like ball
Mhm.
bearings or whatever. You just throw 2 or 3 in one of the pots, and those help a lot.
Oh yeah. Army Painters has some of the like probably the worst stuff that you have to shake, in my opinion. Like just
Really?
the amount of shaking you have to do with Army Painter paints. I think they addressed that recently in their YouTube, that they were like, hey, we know like our paints are a pain in the ass to shake, so we're just going to make better paint that you don't have to do that anymore. And I was like, oh,
Is this like their baseline, or is this like they're
Their
not talking about
baseline.
speed paint, right?
no, yeah,
The
they're
baseline, I mean, I would recommend it to like beginners who are looking at painting like the Nolzur's Marvelous miniatures, like the unpainted like D&D minis.
Mhm.
Right.
But like I don't really recommend them for people painting like Warhammer, or like highly detailed miniatures.
Yeah, I really like certain colors from the range, and like I have my favorites from P3. I have my favorites from scale 75. I have my favorites from this. Maybe, I mean, I am colorblind, or color deficient, so most of the things I say is just completely and utterly nonsense.
Well, it's
Other than the
basically
God hands.
It's basically, yeah, the God hands are fucking dope. God hands
Yeah.
for life, man. If you don't own a pair of God hands, you should consider getting one.
Hashtag
God
not
hands,
sponsored.
what are those?
Man, clippers.
Yeah, so God hands actually, I didn't
Yeah.
know this, but they have different different like categories for God hands. Like you could get really cheap ones, kind of like the Army Painter, or you could get expensive ones. There's these $70 ones on Amazon, and they are by far the best clippers I have ever used or touched.
Really?
They make like going through your Into the Dark sets like a breeze. Like you don't hate your life for choosing to paint Into the Dark or even clip them out. You know what I mean? So like it's like a huge bonus.
Okay.
Yeah, they are absolutely glorious.
You can get really, really close cuts where you leave almost no little nibs left on models. That's the reason I picked these things up. And apparently the only better ones are from this one company in Japan that custom makes clippers for you.
Probably like handmade, and the steel is like rolled
Yeah,
10,000 times over.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
out of
sure
a
they're
real
made by
samurai
dwarves.
sword. Who knows?
Yeah.
No, they're just made by dwarves, and they
Wow,
get
we call
imported
them
from Middle Earth.
Japanese
From Middle Earth.
Oh,
Giacomo, you got to get your head out of the
Giacomo, you
gutter,
didn't have
my
to
guy.
take it there, man. Now it's explicit. I mean, we dropped one F-bomb, but you're allowed one in a PG-13 movie. But this is
Jeez,
beyond.
This is
Giacomo?
already rated R. We're explicit.
Oh, fair
I'm
enough.
gonna go see Nun 2, None Your Business later this week.
Shut up.
Is that a
People
movie?
actually calling it that?
No, we have.
I saw the trailer for it. It looks bad, but I
It's
kind of want to
really
see
bad. It makes sense. It's none of your business. She goes up to the room and finds her. It was none of her business to go up there.
Yeah,
Just
no,
say-
that's like mad
just say-
disrespectful.
Wait,
Honestly.
is this like another Medea movie, or like what is this?
No. You know what? Yes, it's another Medea movie.
Tyler Perry.
Can you imagine Tyler Perry plays the nun?
Oh my god!
Is this an actual None Your Business? Is that an actual
No,
movie?
it's just called
No.
Nun 2.
It's called what?
It's just called Nun 2.
Oh, Nun 2? It sounds like a banger.
We
It almost
used to
sounds
call-
as good as Velocity.
You'll just have to look it up.
Fair enough.
The first one was none to see here. They're both really bad, but right now there's nothing else to really see in theaters that I haven't seen besides Gran Turismo, based on a true story. That is the title of the movie.
Is that like the Gran Torino movie, but like the real versions of what happened?
No, it's the movie. It's just called Gran Turismo, based on a true story.
Oh, fair enough.
It's dumb. Anyways, back to miniatures.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes we get sidetracked, even by like Arnold Schwarzenegger and all sorts of good stuff.
And painting.
Okay, so what is
And
this?
painting.
What is this picture that you sent me here, Dakotah?
Okay,
It's like map
So-
layout looking thing.
yeah, everyone will have access to this by the time this comes out.
Okay.
This is an Into the Dark map for it's a asymmetrical Into the Dark map.
Yeah.
And as you know, they don't make these. They just don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a thing. Asymmetrical Into the Dark is not a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and for the reason why is it's very difficult to make, and there's only so many things you can do with it. But it's something that I think we as the community are really missing, because there's no like attacker defender. Who are you going to pick? Attacker, of course, every single time on Into the Dark, unless you're trying to fish for a turn to, turning to go first on turning point
Right.
2.
Yeah.
But like even that, it's like you're going to get like a 1 in 6 chance that you're going to tie on a dice roll. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know. I don't put my hands
So
in the
that
fate
1
of
in
the dice
6
gods.
chance, it can be everything.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can
yes,
be
it could.
everything.
Get double
Yeah.
turned.
But then you just take
Disgusting. Try getting
just-
quadruple turned, dude. Like, then
Dude,
come
what
talk
did
to
that
me.
happened.
What did they
that
do?
happened to
GA2
me.
twice?
It's happened to all of us, man.
Yes,
Like,
dude, it happened to me. I think three rounds out of my 7 rounds, I did not go first at Nova.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Like,
Okay.
I've definitely lost like too many games of Kill Team because of getting freaking just never getting initiative over the course of a game, and it is it's probably my biggest issue of Kill Team. I love Kill Team. Kill Team's a great game. It's way more competitive than 40K, I think.
Mhm.
Agreed.
I think it's way more competitive than a lot of miniatures games out there. But yeah, that the fact that it comes down to a die roll to determine that, it hurts a lot, and there's no way of interacting with it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So-
I don't like it. But anyways,
We talked about that on our podcast before. Don't know if you've heard it. G, do you want to tell them your thoughts? Hopefully they fix it in the next edition, because I don't think we're going to get another crit up. So we're going to have to wait until season 3, whether that be next year or the year after. But I think dice rolls are here to stay for now. Tell them your strategy,
Which
and I want to see what Ryan thinks.
Which
He's-
again, I need to shout out this is a props to Kellen, because he was the first one to tell us about it. We just took the idea and modified it. So again, thank you, Mr. Kellen. He
Mhm.
knows who he is. If there's other Kellens listening, well, I guess you can get
You can
congratulations
take
by
the credit
proxy.
too. Yeah. Tell your
Um,
friends, hey, they were talking about me.
So what we decided to do, instead of a dice roll mechanic, it was just use the recon step again, but modify what each one means. So we did it in the sense of you'd get to reroll against a ranged attack, one of your defense dice, you'd get to reroll a ranged shot, or you get to reroll a melee attack. And the numbers correspond as they normally would. 1 beats 2, 2 beats 3, 3 beats 1, same thing as before. The way the bonus works is it goes to the person who doesn't get initiative, so that they're kind of preparing for whatever their opponent is probably going to do to them.
okay, so it's kind of like, yeah, you lost initiative, but you get like a free, like, tactical reroll. Is
Yeah.
that what's
Yeah,
going on
pre-
here?
essentially.
Pretty
Yeah.
much for
Yeah.
one type of
I
attack
guess that's
or
a
defense.
nice consolation prize.
It's
Yeah,
something.
It
Yeah.
might help
What
you. It
I
might
would-
not.
What I would like them to do would be either handle it how Crisis Protocol handles it, or if they were to adopt the way that A Song of Ice and Fire handles it. A Song of Ice and Fire, it's another alternating activation game. It's a rank and flank, like Game of Thrones fantasy.
So many of
Nature's
those
game.
models.
Yeah, it's a shame that the game is not doing as well, but
Yeah.
that comes down to a lot of things. But the way they handle the initiative basically is it goes back and forth. So like the game lasts 5 rounds, and whoever starts with a priority token just straight up gives it to their opponent. Then their opponent has priority, and then it goes back to them on the next turn, and they have priority. It's very simple.
So it's just alternating, right?
It's just an alternating initiative, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
So something simple like that, I think I would like to see.
I mean, at the end of the day, you could always just go, then your opponent gets initiative, they get the first activation to make it easy, right? So that's always the option,
Mhm.
which isn't terrible. It's not terrible.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad. What was how does Marvel Crisis Protocol, for everyone that's not familiar with that game? How does
Oh.
the initiative work in that?
So the the both players roll off for priority, and then whoever wins priority, they deploy their model first, and it's alternating activation until both teams are set up, and then they will get the first turn. So there's not really like a lot of stuff going on in that step. But as the game progresses, whoever activated a model on their team last, so basically whoever has the last model to activate that turn, goes second in the next round.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
like if I have a team of 5 heroes and you have a team of 3 and you don't kill any of mine over the course of the first turn, you are going to go first as long as I out activate you, basically. Now there is some stuff in the game that can like change that. For example, characters getting dazed or knocked out. But yeah, that is an interesting direction I think you can go, and it feels with that there's a lot more strategic thought that can go into determining when you want to try and get initiative for the next turn. Whereas with the way that Kill Team is now, it's simply rolling a die, and then if you didn't have it on the last turn, hoping you at least tie with your opponent's die roll.
Yep.
That makes sense. I'm actually a much bigger fan of that than the Age of Song and Fire. I think it's actually kind of cool. It would always guarantee, like, at least you kind of know what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the reason why we have a dice off challenge. But you know, like, day one, I felt like I was playing so well, like Mr. Miyagi was coming through and playing through my hands, you know? And at that point in time, it didn't matter who was going first. It didn't matter who rolled the dice or which way they rolled. It just felt like I was going to win. And day two, I did not feel that way. Yeah, it was. I think that there's definitely some thought process that I hope the game developers go through and think about. If we keep the dice, I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing. But it would be nice to see something a little bit more innovative from Games Workshop rather than just, you know, what have we done for the past 30 some odd years?
Dice.
Yeah, I feel like it's an antiquated mechanic at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, because they're doing so well with Kill Team in general, the way they wrote the rules, like they feel real fresh, even after it's been this many years that the game's been out.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Well, you guys ready to move on to the big thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But quickly, before we move on to there, I just want to go ahead and shout out the patrons. Thank you guys for doing what you do. We always appreciate it. Helps us with the show. I'm talking real fast. And I want to mention that we are affiliated with Frontline Gaming. So if you are looking to get any product from their web store, link is in the description. Anything that you purchase costs no extra to you, but a little bit kickback goes to us, which helps us run the show. Yeah.
It does help a lot.
It does. All right. Kill Team Meta
Do
time.
you guys have any affiliates that you want to shout out?
Yeah.
Ryan, because you guys have a great podcast and YouTube channel.
All right. So 2 local guys here in Rochester have started a Kickstarter. It's called Objective Control Tabletop Game Aids. And the really cool thing that they've come up with is these objective markers that like, they're not like cheap, like overhead, like paper, like translucent paper. You know what I'm talking about? Kind of like the super thin, like
I think John Reese had those
markers.
I think John Reese had those at Nova, and he was giving some out. I think I have some now. They're really nice.
Yeah. So these ones they're incredibly thin, and they're not like gonna tear on you. They're durable. They lay flat so that if you're like rolling dice on the table, like they're not going to get cocked on these objective markers or anything, or like the mouse pad like objective markers. And the really cool thing about these is they've made one that does not reflect any glare into cameras if you're having like a streamed game or something.
Hmm.
So they were showing me the pictures of some of these and the logo they put on them. Like it literally looks like the logo is glowing, but there is no glare on the objective markers at all. So they're really high quality stuff. So I will send you guys over the link for the Kickstarter. You can go and back them. It's been up for like 4 or 5 days now at the time of recording, and they are already halfway over their goal. So
Nice.
All right.
definitely go and check out Objective Control.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that anyone who's doing a great thing now, do they make 40K size as well, or other?
I'm
other
happy that
game
you
sizes?
mentioned that
Uh-huh.
because they're primarily these are primarily 40K like objective markers and game aids. So they're making markers for conditions, measurement tools, deployment zone markers, the objective markers, and also like the area terrain footprints, which is like a really big thing in competitive 40K now, is making sure that like your ruin has like a proper footprint.
Yeah.
That way you know when exactly your models are benefiting from cover and stuff like that.
Ooh.
So yeah. And then I think it's like once they reach stretch goals, that's when they start getting out into like other tabletop
game systems?
miniature games. Yeah. But
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
these are a 40K, primarily 40K.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it definitely sounds like they're using some sort of mylar material, which is really cool. Something, so anyone that knows, I mean, it could be mylar, it could be something else. Mylar is like a thicker plastic than it's like an acetate plastic type deal. It's just a slightly different chemical composition. If they're using something else even too, that's even cool, because hopefully they're innovating even more into the scene.
On
Super
the on the Kickstarter itself, it says that it's a polymer blend material that is scratch resistant, flexible, and reduces the visibility of fingerprints and smudges.
Wow.
Love that.
Sounds sciencey as fuck.
Yeah, they gave me a set, and they're really nice. So
Nice. I wonder if they're using an actual inkjet on them, or if they're using like a UV printer. UV printers are also really cool. It's what I think. I can't say for sure, but I think there's a couple companies that produce MDF terrain that is fully painted, and I believe they also use this stuff called UV printers. Anyone that's out there, it's what people use to make superhero costumes in the movies. It's essentially they put it down, and then they put it's basically a printer, like a straight up inkjet printer. They have material that shoots down that's UV cured, and so it creates these raised effects. But it's kind of like what they do on the back of keychains. It's what they do on a whole bunch of other stuff. The only problem is that they're like 30 to 40 grand.
Yeah. I have no idea the science behind this. I just know that they're really cool and they feel really good in the hand. Like they feel like they're going to hold up to a lot of hard use on the tabletop.
I can confirm. Yeah, they feel real good. So they're not paying you. Maybe they should. You hear that?
I don't know. I love doing ad reads, honestly. my personal goal, I haven't told Shane about this. Since this is an R-rated episode, I definitely want adamandeve.com to get command point of sponsorship.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Dude, imagine adamandeve.com/command point for 50% off.
This way you can get fucked while the dice fuck you, you know?
Also, Audible. Awesome. Audible literally needs to give me a sponsorship at this point.
Yeah.
Because holy crap, I go through so many audiobooks.
I agree. I go through quite a lot.
It's all just 40K, but I go through so many. I'm listening through the Siege of Terra right now.
Okay, so you're like at the end point when they're about to finish. They're getting close.
I'm starting. I'm doing like a Horus Heresy sandwich. I'm listening through the Siege of Terra, and then I'm also going through the Horus Heresy in chronological order, and I've been like alternating.
I think I stopped at the Dark Angels book.
Yeah, the first one, it's like the one after Fulgrim.
Yeah, right after Fulgrim.
I heard that one is like not great. So I'm planning on skipping it.
That's literally why I stopped. I was going like, I don't know if I can finish this. This is actually pretty boring.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it a try.
Ryan, have you heard the new Eisenhorn books? What are they called? Penitent and the
Beckwin series? Yeah.
The Beckwin series. Have you listened to those yet?
I have not. I've got them queued up. I actually haven't listened through the third Eisenhorn book yet.
So you're going through the whole thing.
Hereticus, right?
I'm going to kill myself.
I mean, look, I only started with Beckwin, and I think just reading the Beckwin series is pretty good. And the third one's coming out at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I love Inquisitors and the Inquisition, so I'm sure it's going to be up my alley.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's all I have to say. It is quite literally on another plane of existence. Now, there are a lot of people who say they can't get into the Eisenhorn series because it's too dark for them. For me,
that's what 40K is, man. I'm sorry.
Like,
I gotta disagree with people on that.
I can listen to those books back to back to back. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but
we like sci-fi.
I like fantasy more, but it has so many world-changing things. Like Dan Abnett. So anyone who's listening, Dan Abnett went to Games Workshop and they were like, "Hey, we really want you to continue this series." It's like, well, his first book, the Pariah, I think it was Pariah or his Penitent. Yeah, Pariah came out and it wasn't his best Eisenhorn, like, Inquisitor novel. Let's not lie. It wasn't the greatest, but Penitent made it just absolutely amazing. He went to Games Workshop and he was like, "Hey, I want to continue writing this, but I want to do some changes and I want them to be canon." And they're like, "Yeah, do whatever you want." And he was like, "Well, this is what I want to do." They're like, "Sure, go for it." And he's like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." And like, I'll just tell you one thing. It's not going to ruin the book series. The Eldar have heard of this threat, and there is 5 craft worlds on the way to destroy the planet because of how dangerous this thing is. So if anyone's thinking about it, there are 5 craft worlds. If you guys don't know what a craft world it is a planet-sized Eldar ship. I said Eldar really weird there, but it's Eldar.
It felt kind of.
Not only that,
but feelings about the Eldar.
He loves Eldar.
I do. I feel like I'm Ravener. I have like a soft spot for the Xenos race, but my true heart lies with the Emperor and Eldred at nighttime in my dreams. So it also sucks that they're really good right now in 40K, and like, if I ever wanted to play Eldar in 40K right now, I know I'd just get like murdered, like when Colts got murdered. Oh, great segue, Dakotah. Colts and Felgor caused this mass hysteria. Did you think that all that mass hysteria was viable and like worthy
for the Colts?
I mean,
for Colts, it definitely was. But like with Felgors, I don't really understand the outrage that much, because like Shane and I, we got the box, obviously, and then we played our first game with the Beastmen, and I was playing Intercession, and Shane literally like beat me by 1 point, and I felt like there were times in the game that I could have done things differently, and I would have won. So like, I think like a lot of the nerfs they got, I think Shane said they were over nerfed. I definitely agree with him. They definitely should have gotten like a nerf, but like what is it? It's like if they're frenzied, they no longer count towards controlling an objective.
Mm-hmm. That one
can't
really
even
hurt.
control an objective. It's like the whole mechanic of that team is getting frenzied. That is their whole faction identity.
Yeah.
And so when that triggers and it takes away from your ability to play the game and score points, that's where I think it's entering like a poor design space.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking a unique mechanic and it's cool. You get to keep a model alive and he can kill something. But I mean, like, after you activate him, you know, the next time he's going to die anyway. So it's like, I don't know. I think they went too far. I think they could cut back on that change specifically. I think all the other changes were good. I think you take that one out, and I'm 100% okay with the other nerfs that they got.
So
Colts 100%. Like that team should have been burned to the ground day one. Oh my god!
I agree.
Oh my god! I told you, I don't know if you guys heard when Shane and I were talking about the game that him and I played in a tournament. I was playing Colts. He was playing Legionnaires. I
think I heard about this.
he killed 15,
10 dudes, right?
He killed 15 he killed 10 of my 15 models. Turn 1, activation 1, with his Warpfire Acolyte.
Nerf Legionary, I'm hearing. Go ahead.
No. Because I came back and I almost won that game. Once again, Shane beat me by 1 point. Yeah.
That's rough.
All of those models that he killed, the only ones that I had left were he killed all of the dark commune models. So I didn't have my leader, so I didn't even have like the extra mutation for the entire turn.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's actually nutty.
Yeah. Anyways,
that's
how I feel about the nerfs.
Nutty. Okay, fair. Yeah, I agree that I think Felgor probably only needed one or the other of the nerfs. In fact, I thought that they were probably only going to get like a war paint debuff. Now, I do
it was the war paint for me. Yeah,
I do like the fact that they can't control things anymore. I think the shooting should probably be reverted, even though they still shit all over Vetguard and Into the Dark. Like they should. There should be teams that do that to certain teams, right? Like that's the reason why you go to a tournament is like, hey, I hope I don't draw this team.
Oh no, I drew this team.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'll lose.
I guess I I lose this round. That's all right. Just try to score as many points as you can, right? Mm-hmm. I think that I still think Colts need a nerf. And I think the reason, like, we're going to get into orc territory here very, very soon. Have you been playing orcs at all?
No, I haven't. And I've been looking at them and I have been green with envy.
Not the worst joke said today, so it's fine.
No, I'm a big fan of that. Big fan.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay. I think that the only reason why we're not seeing Felgor and we're not seeing more Colts is because commandos are so oppressive into the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily to the state of the game itself, because, for instance, the fact that orcs can sneaky get 3 times.
Yeah, that is egregious.
And the fact, okay, here's my other question. Are we all dumb? Because we didn't see, none of us content creators, none of us TOs, no one saw this happening.
I literally told Shane on a podcast that we recorded earlier this week. I'm like, I did not even know that you could that you could do that. I didn't know that you could do it 3 times.
Yeah,
just straight up, it just never crossed my mind because my mind has just been so off of like commandos.
Yeah,
but,
it's kind of sad. It
definitely feels like it's something that just was not accounted for. I guess once like the competitive like mission pack and everything came out,
Yeah. And, it wasn't, I don't know. I don't actually know if it ever would have been figured out by people. Unless if people had to run into these, like, what is the cheesiest way that I can kill as many cultists in the first turn? What is the easiest way that I can get to them and screw this team over? If cultists didn't exist, we wouldn't have this orc problem. And I think that people started seeing it at last LVO. There were a couple people that were like for deploying 2 sneaky gets, but again, they were using like I'm gonna forward deploy my orc knob with a dynamite and this, and it's like those are so telegraphed that most good players who have a dash or like heaven forbid like you lose the turning point, then they just get charged and your whole thing is off. But like now it's like, oh, actually I'm gonna put a slasher boy, I'm gonna put a rocket boy up on advantage and a sniper boy up on advantage. Like you don't have to do that. You can just like first turning point, fire a rocket into a space marine. You know what I mean? You're like, well, that sucks.
Die.
Yeah, I definitely think that there are.
I feel like the way that the team is played, if everything was left as it was, I feel like it would naturally evolve to the state it's in. It was just accelerated because of the fact that you need to get an alpha strike like a Warpfire Acolyte, like whatever it is that the Hyrotech Circle can do, into Cult if you want to try and get ahead of them before they start fully coming online.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Man, did not see orcs would become the boogeyman.
Yeah,
I mean, it's these two. I gotta say this. It's these two teams. They were the first teams to come out in the game that were full on like kill teams made for the new edition of Kill Team, and they've only been touched a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams are so old at this point that it's like I don't know if the people in charge of like balancing the game want to touch them because they've touched them so many times over the course of the game's lifespan.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, Vedguard haven't been touched yet.
That's my problem.
I think Vedguard are in like the perfect spot. They have like the good tools to deal with everything, but they're not invincible.
I don't think there's ever been a time in this game's life cycle, except for probably when Cults came out, that Vedguard were not in a position to just win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but, like, because
you look at like every team that is similar to them that has come out since then, and they just have less or worse versions of what that team can do.
Agreed. I think if we're going to talk about Vedguard nerfs, I 100% think the demo mine should not be able to blow up through walls, and then I try to see where the team lands from there, because I do think that like they could be really bad really quick if you touch them too hard.
I think so. Yeah. I'm always in favor, except for, of course, Chaos Cult.
Yeah.
Of just like slight like nerfs, just to like kind of whittle down a team to a reasonable level. So like with Commandos, like I would say if we were to balance this today, make Sneaky Get, you can only choose one.
Yes.
Perfect.
And you can only use this once per game.
Perfect.
I wouldn't touch the rest of the team, because the rest of the team I think is fine.
I would 100% do one more thing.
What?
Yeah.
Can you roll a crit? John Reese said this to me, and then I've heard it echoed from like Emmanuel and other people as well, that another viable nerf to them would be to make it so that the squig cannot get an extra APL, because then you're giving him an 11-inch range rather than a 9-inch range to blow up. So I think like, and you just make him like super stupid, like give him the keyword super stupid instead of stupid, so you can't get the extra APL. And I think if you do those two things, the team would be absolutely in a much better place. My problem is with the All Valley team tournament coming up. today I called a couple people saying like, hey, should I do something about sneaky git? Because every team is going to bring a commandos player to this event. And should I make a judgment call and say like, hey, every single person has told me, no, you shouldn't change commandos, but this is a good change for the game. You know what I mean? Like every single person thinks 3 sneaky gits. Even the people who play commandos think 3 sneaky gits is a problem. It's rough. They're such a. I played John Reese and I wanted to play him on loot with the best in open just because I wanted to see what they could do. I've never lost to commandos before as Vetguard. And he was my first loss as I think I've tied Emmanuel a couple times, but I've never lost to commandos. So with Vetguard, Emmanuel beat my socks in with Craft Worlds when they were great when it first came out. But like I wanted to see what they could do on open, on loot, where they could forward deploy a bunch of models and possibly steal stuff. I won the activation and then I stole points away from him before he could steal my points away. So we just ended up going 3-3. But I mean, that is something that only Vetguard or Corsairs or a super fast team can do. And that is something that not other teams just can't do that. I find that one of the other reasons why commandos are so good is because not only are they great and efficient at scoring points, but they're also super good at surviving until the end of the game. Like Vetguard, you try and score as many points as you can, and you start to really dwindle off turning point 4 because a lot of you have to trade models for points, right? You have to. If you don't do it, you're not playing them right, or you're winning so bad it doesn't matter, right? Those are the two. That's basically the two boats that you're in. Orcs, I only have 3 commandos left, but they still fuck, you know?
And if you're budgeting your CP right, you always have things like just a scratch in your back pocket.
Yeah. That got me a couple times in that last turning points.
It's such a feels bad, but I mean, the team is so old at this point, like people should just be anticipating it.
Oh yeah.
It still feels bad.
Which is, to me, it makes the team. Much like Only in Death makes Vetguard what it is. It is their strongest gotcha tool. It is the strongest tool that they have in the kit outside of the demo man. And it's kind of what gives the team their identity. And I don't know if I would still play them if they took it away. Same thing with Orcs. I hope that they never would get rid of Just a Scratch because it's also so thematic because it gives them that extra survivability, toughness. That's really cool for Orcs. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling.
And when I play against orcs, I have a good time, regardless of whether people. I usually play against people who aren't using, sneaky get 3 times. And I
Giacomo, let's play. Yeah? I'll play commandos. You won't have any fun.
Then I'll just play commandos. They're upstairs in my fucking loft. They're not painted,
Fair enough.
We can both have a miserable time. Let's not do that. Because when you play against them, like just in a fun way, they're a fun team to play against. They shoot back at you, they hit you hard, but you hit them hard too, and it feels all right.
Yeah, that's they do have like one weakness, isn't that it's like they only have so many like good shooters. Excuse me, good shooters.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Man.
It's very respectful.
Yeah, like once the Sniper Boy and the Shooter Boy and the Rocket Boy are like gone, depending on what team you're playing, you can kind of like play around that. Just because they're mostly like a CQB team outside of those 3 models.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I thought about dropping the medic into them, but then I'm like, oh, if I do that and they get off a dynamite turn 1, then I lose a model that I don't necessarily. I might not have if I had the medic. But if anyone's playing a medic out there into them, I would consider dropping the medic just because their shooting is, if you're playing correctly, they shouldn't be able to get a good shot on you at any direction. Like if they do, cool, you lose a model. But like into orcs, I don't think a medic outside of like the blooded medic is necessarily like worth it. Like you could take, like the medic just sits in the back the whole time, hoping that he gets like a like the sniper kill something. Like just take a flamer or take something else that can actually trade back. Outside of
taking a
Phobos.
flamer, but anything but that.
Phobos are also pretty good in this meta, and I feel like it was underrepresented at Nova for sure.
Yeah, no one was using the free loot stuff or free take points and action things, you know?
And they weren't using the obscuring thing. Like, the crazy thing with Octarius that I don't necessarily like. I don't know if you know this, Ryan, but I have only played on Octarius at a tournament a year before Nova, and then at Nova. I haven't even put my set together. And
okay.
Yeah, I've never played on Octarius.
Really? It's
never.
fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, I mean it's good.
You didn't play it at the tournament here in California we went to?
Just that one tournament. That was the one.
That was the only one, right? Okay.
Yep.
I've played on Octarius so much.
Yeah, I hear that.
So what is your problem with the terrain set?
I don't have I think it is. Firstly, a fuck scramble. Since we're an explicit podcast now. I know a lot of people out there will like say like, oh, we like Scramble. It's like, no, they put Scramble into the game because they built the Speed Freaks set. They built this set from Speed Freaks, and they had to develop rules.
There
right?
It is.
They had to develop rules for it, right? So like, Scramble is just like, to me, an innate mechanic that they added into the game, which has never been re-added into the game from any other terrain set. Might I add you? So to me, it's
terrain set. I think it had like a unique mechanic.
Does it? I don't think Chalneth had any.
Oh no, it has like punishing vantage.
Yeah, punishing vantage was Chalneth. I don't know if Nachman had one.
Smoke
did not.
The smoke.
Okay.
Neither did more the
Morok. Yeah, Morok. I don't actually think
it had defensible.
It had defensible
and heavy.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything is better than Morok.
Morok is it's better.
In my opinion, outside of Into the Dark, every single terrain release set that came out for Kill Team got worse, progressively worse.
After Octarius.
Yeah. Nachman was probably better than Chalneth, but
and like I've played on some Chalneth boards. Like we have a local friend who brings it, and Chalneth's not the worst I've been on. It's just very big.
I've been playing on the Chalneth board actually a lot recently, and it's because I finally got it assembled like a month or two ago. I like it. It definitely is awkward because those two pieces are so freaking big.
Yeah,
like those two big ruin pieces. But like everything being heavy, I kind of like it because it simplifies cover in a sort of way.
Right.
And it's like you look at it and it's like, wow, this is kind of like a big open board. It almost feels like less crowded than Octarius in some aspects, but it's like sneakily like CQB oriented because everything's heavy.
Right. So you have to get close to shoot anybody or even fight them.
To like draw angles on anybody, or which Hand of the Archon with like a bunch of their crazy movement shenanigans really likes.
Yeah. Back to your original question for Octarius. I thought Octarius was a good terrain system. For me, I think that the buildings are too big. If I had to say one thing about the terrain, I think the buildings are too big. Like they take up so much space on the board, it's hard to place them. That's why
get crowded.
That's why I developed like smaller, heavy terrain. But I actually think Into the Dark has like if you take Into the Dark pieces and you put them for open terrain, it's some of the best terrain out there. You just have to add vantages, right? But like, just because they're 4x4, there's not like any of these 4x8 or 4x7.5 or these kind of giant terrain pieces. And then
I can see that.
Scramble at Nova did not really play a factor. Like I would just scramble, move over something to take a a point,
like
a
on an
cheeky point.
objective or something.
Yeah. I didn't scramble charge. Also, the scramble was placed like on the edges of the board, so it funneled you inwards if you didn't want to scramble. I dislike that. But like, in my opinion, I don't think there's anything wrong with Octarius. I think Octarius is a great system. But since GW only has one really good terrain system, I think I've heard a lot of people are getting sick of it. So just like people are getting sick of Into the Dark, especially out here. So
I think that also just comes down to burnout, right? It's like you play on the same map for so long. And like you said, those pieces are so big with Octarius. It's like if I use every single piece of the terrain whenever Shane and I are setting up a board to play, it like becomes the same like terrain layout every time.
Yep.
If we're just like setting up one quick, unless we're following like a turning point tactics, like
but even those are super similar.
Like that.
There's
I mean, they're all using the same terrain pieces, so you can only
make
be
so much.
So innovative.
Yeah,
with the same components,
Absolutely. So, moving on to Justinian. Justinian got announced, and
like forever ago.
Seriously.
Well, the rules got leaked, I should say.
There we go.
At the time of this recording, at least they got leaked. What are you guys' thoughts on the team? Is there anything like that do you guys like them? Do you guys think they're just chocolate intercession like we said last week, or what do you think?
Chocolate intercession is a good way to describe them, I think, looking at these pictures, because it's like, let me take a look at these pictures here.
Like,
yeah, so it's like, the ploys are just like 1-for-1s
intercession
of like intercession, it looks like, from this Reddit post.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
if it's even real.
Yeah, these are doctored photos. Fake news. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm excited to play them just because it's like, it looks like an intercession team, but they have actual like real weapons outside of bolters.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one of each like mainline model from the Primaris range. I'm excited to be painting these guys up.
What are you going to paint them
once
as?
I get my hands on them?
Ultras.
I kind of, hell no, I'm not painting any more Ultra Reeds, dude. Hell no. No, I'm going to paint them as probably Dark Angels.
Okay.
Ooh.
Probably
that
Dark Angels.
Pistol.
Yeah, the plasma pistol. And I think there's some really cool things I can do with conversions and kit bashing.
Oh yeah, this team is super. That's a great thing about Marines.
That's the thing
now.
about this team too, is like, you don't have to, if you have like these Space Marine models already in your collection, like say you play 40k or something, then you have this team already.
Yeah.
Or you have the bits to assemble this team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people are going to get really creative and super special snowflakey with some of their conversions and stuff to make this team. Because I mean, man, the blind boxes that these come in, right? Like when the Death Guard ones came out like earlier this year, I think these sold out like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. So I don't know how fast these ones are going to go.
Immediately.
Yeah, agreed. Immediately. One thing I will say is that I have a spicy take about this team. I'm probably going to do it for all of my tournaments.
Wait. Before, no, actually, go first, because then what I say will make more sense later.
Yeah, because you played them yesterday, right?
I got to try them out because of the leaks. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So for the All Valley Team Tournament, this team will be legal because they leaked well in advance of the 2 weeks notice. Thank you, Reddit. I am not some TO that's going to be like, hey, like only official announcements. No, the rules are here. We are down to play more Marines. Sorry. I started going like super emperor on everyone there. My hot take is that the worst model on the team is by far the heavy gunner. But I think I was talking
so chonky. What do you mean?
18 wounds, baby.
He's so chonky, and he's got that big bolter.
I have 30 of them. They are my favorite Marines. Okay. But here's where it is. I was talking to Chris Bakke today and a couple other TOs, and everyone pretty much agrees with me across the board. And I want to see what you think. I value yours and Shane's opinion highly. I think that the 4 stat is a misprint. I think that the 4 tax for the heavy bolter is wrong. It should be a 5. Because right now it only has 4 attacks. So essentially what they said was like, hey, this chonky Marine has a bolter that is just blessed bolts and it's heavy. Get fucked. In my opinion, every single heavy bolter in Compendium, every single heavy bolter that the heavy intercessors already have is 5 attacks. So in my opinion, this guy should and will have 5 attacks. I just caught a mosquito in midair and crushed its soul.
Good. Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
The only good bug is a dead bug.
Hey, let's go.
Well, I don't know. I like spiders. They kill bugs.
Yeah, spiders get a pass.
Right,
they're arachnids. So.
Yeah, I did. I found a tarantula out in the wild yesterday.
Yeah, I saw the thing. Saya posted it, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And someone else did
tarantula.
too. There's a bunch here in Canyon Country. I was like, "What the fuck?"
I would like to rescind my previous comments about all arachnids getting a pass. I am now going to be picking and choosing which spiders can and cannot get the pass. All the tarantulas can burn.
So what are your guys' thoughts on letting the heavy bolter take 5?
You can go first.
Yeah, so I mean the heavy bolter, like you were talking about how all the other like heavy bolters in Compendium like have a baseline 5 attacks. Do they all also hit on 3s, have damage 4, 5, have fusillade? Not that really matters for much.
Yes, they do.
Heavy
and P1.
Heavy P1. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so they have all that, but do all of those models have bolter discipline where this model can shoot twice?
No, you have to pay for it in the teams in the other teams.
Mm-hmm. And this model just gets it for free, it looks like. So I
It's
mean,
correct.
That is true, but also this team can't do anything else. And in my opinion, giving a Blessed Bolts bolter heavy is, I mean, if this model stays the same as it is on the data card, it's just a never take. You just never take it.
All right. So we mentioned I got to try him out yesterday. I'll tell you this. The man can't move for shit. He dashes, and that's basically his move if you want him to shoot. But what I found out is, on objectives that I could totally see, no one was taking them from me. I would shoot them down with twice, double shooting, 4 or 5 damage, and I'd have the reroll ability that they have, whichever one I needed at the time. And when they tried to hit me, they couldn't. I would tank it. I got 18 wounds, baby. And I have the ability to say I'm not injured. I was dishing damage like it was nothing else. While everyone else did their job. I actually thought the sniper did less work than he was going to do, based on the little data card that I found on Reddit.
He's got so much stuff on his data card.
Oh, he actually has real rules. It's nuts.
It's like reading a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I hate it.
Oh my god! I was talking to our friend who plays Yu-Gi-Oh, and he goes, "Yeah, that's such a fatigue trying to read the little
so
text
much
boxes."
Text, man. So it's like I can tell just by looking at this bolter sniper rifle. It's like I'm just gonna probably wind up using one of these actual profiles in my games. Two of these have got to be just like objectively worse, right?
It's usually you're going to take
Mortis. Actually, Executioner is interesting because they all have silent.
They all have silent. Yeah. So usually
Mortis with the mortal wounds. Yeah, they're all heavy, all silent.
So here's the difference between the heavy intercession, right? The heavy bolt rifle has 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4/5 damage, P1. Right?
Yeah.
The heavy bolter from the heavy intercessors have 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4/5 damage, heavy, fusillade, and P1. The only heavy bolter that does not have 5 attacks is the Executor bolter rifle, heavy bolter, which is essentially the sniper version, which has 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4/5, heavy, AP1, lethal 5+.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which what I think they were going for, if you look at the original Intercession, they have the auto bolt rifle, which a guy does have. They have the regular bolt rifle, which a majority of the guys have. And then they figured no one's ever going to take the heavy bolt rifle because it's garbage. Like, why? So
Agreed.
let's just turn it into the heavy bolter and give the guy double shoot and tank kits. And that's what I think they did with this. I think the 4/5 or the 4 attacks is what it's supposed to be. I don't think it's a misprint.
I need more yes men. I don't need you both arguing with me. Okay.
Welcome to the squad.
I'm just saying, like, man, if like with 5 attacks on this thing, the bolter discipline, you're throwing 10 dice.
They just die.
Pretty good.
With rerolls. With
rerolls.
Whatever rerolls you want at any time. Because they got the same let's look at the plays here.
So what I'm hearing is that it's too much.
Tactical Doctrine and Devastator are going to be the 2 you're using. And then you're going to use They Shall Know No Fear. So you can be like, yeah, I'm not actually wounded. And then I could shoot at full ballistics.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you even do to this guy, you know? And Overwatch, like, okay, cool. I'm still rolling 4 dice on Overwatch with this damage profile. You're going to stand still. Because when I play regular Intercession with the guy gives scopes and the extra damage, he just stands on a vantage or in one spot that I want to control anyways. That's sort of what I'm doing here. Though, I don't like that I can't move fast. That part does suck.
Yeah, I mean,
I think this team is I think they're good, but
Yeah,
I think chocolate is not as popular or as good as vanilla. People can fight us on our Discord if you disagree.
You're right, because vanilla is great, but chapter tactics are flavoring you can put in the vanilla.
Yeah, you have like your cookie dough, you have your mint chips, you have your Butterfingers.
You have your nerds candy.
Yeah, nerds.
I've done that once.
Yeah, you can't put those into chocolate because chocolate, it'll start to get like, it's like, oh, I'm taking 1 bite of this ice cream and then I'm done. So maybe if you're on a
diet,
diet,
you're going to get confused.
Yeah,
your taste buds are going to get confused.
Okay, so you guys think that's
the vanilla ice cream is just the vehicle for the candy, really?
Yes, yes.
Intercession's just the vehicle for the chapter tactics.
Literally that.
Literally that. Yeah.
And then,
so that being said,
potential
hot take here.
Okay,
I think because this team has real weapons at baseline, and not all bolters. Just like basic bolters, I think they could be better than Intercession.
You do get a second guy who can hit on 2s, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, the captain
you
with
take the captain
pistol hitting on 2s with a power fist that hits on 3s. Oh my! I am so ready to run this dude, man.
The 4 Invul was clutch yesterday. You know
how we've read this team is that you can get 3 models hitting on 2s, so you can get the captain and the sergeant because. At least from the leaks, we can't see anything that specifically says that you can or can't. If this has been outdated, I apologize to everyone for speaking nonsense, but to the best of our knowledge at this point in time, you can take both the sergeant and the captain, which makes it way better because you can take 3 models hitting on 2s.
Yeah. I was doing that yesterday. It's awesome. But I kind of wish I had rapid. I wish I could, or duelist. Like when the orcs are fighting me, it's like, man, if I had duelist, I could just block half these hits and then like just.
You know what make all of your pain go away, G?
A frag and crack grenade, also.
No, no. Heavy bolter.
I hate crack grenades so much.
I mean, I can understand the hate because you're almost forced to like. Well, you kind of have to take one of these, you know.
I don't even know if it's like that anymore. I think the meta has evolved past the point of
4 crack
a single crack grenade is an auto take because it's like if you're playing against elites, it's like, dude, if you're playing against Shane's Legionnaires, you're walking up with your crack grenade guy and you're going to throw it at an anointed. Guess what? That anointed is not going to die. And you're just going to feel real dumb.
Yeah.
So I'm like really like not feeling grenades right now, period.
What about
Like
smoke grenades? I
That's a
think
hot
smoke
take.
grenades are
I've
good.
never experimented with smoke grenades.
You should
So,
experiment with smoking. It's pretty dope.
is that how many bad jokes is that? Is that 3?
That's 3.
That's 3. Okay.
That's
That's
the
the
rule.
What was the first one?
None your business.
Oh yeah. That one was stupid, but it was funny. So it gets a pass.
I get a spider pass.
Yeah, you and like daddy long legs, and like that's literally it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty
Smoking.
excited for Justinian, and I want to see how good they actually are. I'm going to paint them like Ultramarines. I have Titus, and he's going to be a great fit. He's going to replace Brother Deacon
Is
with
that the chainsword guy?
with the awful face.
How does that Titus look?
He looks bad
real life.
He doesn't look great.
Because like I looked at the pose and I was like, man, that is just
They
not.
messed this up.
I'm probably
they massacred my boy.
I'm probably going to replace his head with a 3D print, but at a different Titus head.
It does, yeah. Like it doesn't really look like Titus from the upcoming Game of the Year, Space Marine 2.
There you go, guys. We're not even sponsored, or are we?
No, we are not.
We are definitely not.
I'm just lying.
I'm so excited for that game, dude.
I'm ready for my power fantasy.
I know. I know. As soon as it comes out, I'm just gonna like sit down and grind until like 4 a.m. or something.
I was super excited for Dark Tide, and that game was fun for like 35 minutes.
Dark Tide was super
Mm-hmm.
ambitious on release, I feel like. And the pacing in terms of like leveling up and like the content that was available at the time didn't really live up to the hype.
Yeah, it was
this game it's like it feels like it's it's just Gears of War, like 2008 or whenever that game came out, and it's just going to be you and 2 friends, and you're just going to be killing aliens, and you're all just like 9 foot tall, like ceramite clad dudes, just skull crushing people.
Dang, this is Gears of War.
It's literally, it's literally Gears of War.
They passed the Rubicon.
No. So the nostalgia is definitely going to be hitting for me. So, and I loved the first one too. So,
yeah, I'm excited for it. I didn't play number 1 just because it didn't tickle my fancy, but this one does. This one looks nice.
You should play
excited.
number 1. Or Bolt Gun. Bolt Gun is also in the same universe.
Shane's been playing Bolt Gun, and he says that he's really been enjoying it. I haven't gotten the chance to.
It's a good way to sink like 16 hours, once you do all the secrets. Because eventually you run out of things. Like you get the secrets and you're like, oh okay, that's kind of it.
I only have time for so much video games. I play Wild Rift, which is League of Legends on your mobile device. And I play, which I'm Master Tier, by the way. Let me just dust off the shoulder.
Your shoulders? Jesus.
Yeah. Wow. That's nice. I'm 2 points away from being Challenger, 2 ranks. If anyone out there is wondering, but yeah, and then I also play Baldur's Gate right now. But when Space Marine comes out, I'll definitely play. Baldur's Gate is sick, bro. And let me tell you, Karlach, she's my jam. I'm playing a Dragonborn right now, and we just kissed. I'm super excited.
What about Starfield?
What the hell kind of game is this?
You can customize.
Is this just Dungeons and Dragons dating sim?
Yeah,
it's like what all the memes are. It's you can just play one of those. What do they call them on Steam?
The Sims?
There's like a million of them. Dating sim.
Dating sims is right.
That can't be it. Is it?
That's the genre.
Yeah, I'm dating a tiefling right now, and I'm having it. I'm all about it. Go ahead. How about you play this game and you tell me that like Karlach is not your favorite character?
All right.
All right. And G, you got to do the same, you know, because I'm trying to do that. Now I want to touch another thing on Nova outside of, because I know you didn't go to Nova. Were you surprised by how much Vet Guard showed up?
No.
You weren't.
No, absolutely not. No. It's because cultists had just gotten nerfed, so it's like, yeah, of course they're all going to come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, but what's fascinating
they're
is
gone. Let's go and be toxic with our 14 bodies.
So what's crazy though is that they didn't show up to LVO, they didn't show up to KTO, they didn't show up to any of our local tournaments out here. In fact, I think I was the only person playing them. I think that I heard that there was like one or two that showed up to Goonhammer, but like outside of that, in the tournament scene, I have not seen, I think, what was it? 7 of them showed up out of 61 players, over 10%. To me, that was like a wild number considering I was like the only person to play Vet Guard from where I live.
I don't think it's that crazy of a number just because it's literally one of the oldest teams in the game.
Yeah.
And like, you know, Maryland specifically is a very strong kill team scene, you know, Maryland, like DC area. So I assume that a lot of the players in that area have been in the game since the jump. So I would not be surprised if a bunch of people saw their Vet Guard sitting on the shelf and being like, oh yeah, this team is still wild good, and just it just has a bunch of stuff that other teams would literally like drop models for. So yeah, why not take him for a spin and see what happens?
So I hate questions, but I have this one written down in front of me, so I'm going to ask it.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why Giacomo has to write this one. I hate it with a burning heart. It's about communists, blue communists.
Oh, and I need to add
Mm-hmm.
also clowns in there. I forgot to add them.
Oh, and clowns too.
Yeah.
Clowns are still good. They don't need to be on this list.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still good. I can answer that question for you, G. But for Ryan, teams like Pathfinders and Gellerpox, you know, were once like the top of the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Do you think that the nerfs to Gellerpox or Pathfinders have gone too far? And do you think that there's any way to put them more in a healthy position than they are now? I'll explain the Void Dancers after this, because the clowns they're an easy toe in.
It's so difficult, I think, specifically with the Pathfinders, because I think it really comes down a lot to what terrain you're playing on, whether it be on open or whether it's on Into the Dark. And I know they just got buffs for like playing on Into the Dark.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's face it, that team is not built for close combat. They cannot fight. They are too weak. They are too spineless to stand up to melee teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Orcs, look at them.
So I mean, like on Into the Dark, I think they're just naturally weaker. On open, you know, they definitely still have play, I think. And before we go and start upgrading a team that was like a boogeyman as early as like, or I should say as late as like earlier this year.
Seriously, beginning of summer?
Yeah. Was it even beginning of summer? I'm thinking more like all the way back in like January.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair.
Maybe like just like small incremental. I mean, they've gotten a small incremental buff already. So
Yeah,
I think it's just
buff.
like a wait and see thing. They're also one of the more complex teams to run.
Yeah. It takes a good
so a lot
run.
of it also comes down to like pilot skill, I believe.
So I hope that they don't ever. So for me, Pathfinders, I hope they don't ever revert any of the changes. In fact, I would like to see some things in their kit nerfed once again. But I would love to see like sideway buffs if we were ever going to buff them. Gellerpox, I don't think needs a buff. If the Gellerpox King ever decides to come out and play again, Orion,
Yeah, I was
think-
going to say you're talking about Orion.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we both got exposed to COVID over at Nova, and then neither one of us caught it. So I since I slept in his house, he protected me.
You guys are just built different.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, I've
Feels
caught it. I've
different.
caught it like
You
3
got that
times
dog,
already.
man.
So yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
I got that dog named COVID in me.
Oh no, he just cleared his throat. Oh no.
Oh
It's
no,
happening. You thought you were safe.
it's true. Watch tomorrow. I'm going to break down and have it.
It's Commando
Um,
COVID.
Yeah.
That you sneaky get 3 times.
Fucking bastards.
Oh my
Bastards.
God.
For Gellerpox, I don't think they need a buff. I don't know if the rust animations really hurt them a lot in this latest one, but I
Yeah.
don't think they're in a bad position. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be, but I think like teams are. I mean, we saw it. Every single top player from John Reese outside of Shane. So like John Reese, Adrian, even Mike Cortez, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
A bunch of people, like 9 players, all really skilled players, took commandos. And like, until they get a nerf, I don't think we'll see how other teams are until like, cause they're like the new hottest thing. And they're also really good into Colts, and Colts are still a problem in my opinion. It's just commandos are really good into them. So that's the reason why everyone brought them, because everyone was afraid that they countered themselves.
Right. Yeah.
It was
For the Void Dancers, no one took them and not a lot of people play them. So Void Dancers G are very much like they have a local, they're like the Vet Guard players. Once somebody starts playing them, they never stop playing them, in my opinion.
I love playing Void Dancers, and
Uh-huh.
the only reason I haven't been playing them is because I've been playing Hand of the Archon recently.
Fair enough.
I
Yeah,
got my box yesterday.
Yeah. Hand of the Archon is not good into commandos. So
As it turns out, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess.
none of us knew that. And we found out in Nova.
Well, no, it honestly, like, it kind of makes sense because, and like, I should have seen this coming, because their whole thing with the power from pain tokens, you're only getting those if your model is killing stuff, or if like your flare is killing something and giving those tokens to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, just a scratch, like, literally can counter that. So it's like, yeah, your team's just going to straight up be inefficient if the commando player knows what they are doing. And yeah, that's my one complaint with Hand of the
otherwise-
Archon is that
Well,
you gotta kill stuff. It should be like you kill stuff, and if your models die,
do stuff. Okay, that could work too.
and if your models die, you get.
Oh, I
it
can
feels,
see
it
that.
feels a little more chaosy though. It's more blooded.
I think that would be better for...
Yeah, you are right. That is kind of their whole design space.
I feel like it could be done if you took if you had like the
It's like a really tiny nitpick.
Cold of the Flesh,
Nitpick of mine too.
like Cold of the
Yeah.
Flesh. So if you had because homunculi, like their lore is that if you
Mhm.
befriend a homunculi as like a an arena prince or princess or something, if you die in the arena, they can bring people back from the
They'll
dead.
just bring you back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They can transform other things. It'd be interesting if they developed power from if they ever came out power from pain in a different way, where if your models died, you could either bring them back to life and they came back like stronger. Oh, never mind. Cultists. Moving on.
Well,
yeah.
Hand of the Archon have that one thing where they can make your tac ploys more expensive, right? Or at least only one until it's used again.
Yes.
So you could do that on just a scratch to try to negate it, but the first time,
you could. The thing is, I think in most games, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
more experienced commandos players out there, but how often are you actually using just a scratch in your game? Is it 3 turns? If
That's fair.
presumably if you are deep striking so close with sneaky get, I can see you using it like once per turn.
Yeah. 3 or 4
But-
times, I'd say, easily.
Like
Which-
I would say the average would be 2 to 3. I think the average might be 2 to 3. With all the deep strike stuff, I would say 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a total of, that would be 5 CP that they would be paying over the course of a game to use those, right? I think that's achievable. With like the way command points are generated now at the beginning of the game. But yeah.
Okay, that's a solid reason. I was just thinking because I remember that was one of the tech ploys people would talk about, like that you can really turn off.
Yeah, but it's like you're not really turning it off.
You're just making it expensive.
You're just making it more expensive, and that is a premium that every commando player is going to be happy to pay.
Yeah. I wonder if Inquisition will ever come back into the meta now, because they're very similar to Vet Guard, and they are
Oh, they could take Vedguard.
they can shut off what's it called, once, right? Just scratch once. I mean, they're still really strong
I think
team.
they changed that up a little bit.
Yeah, they're
But,
still a really strong team. They're just not being seen.
I think they're just super underexplored because they came out opposite Cult.
Yeah.
And they came out like within a month, it felt like, of like the Felgar Ravager team. So it's like everybody was just eyes on them, playing them because they're the super presumably OP factions out in the world right now. And then New Balance Data Slate comes out and it nerfs Inquisition and Cults all at the same time. So I don't think Inquisition ever really had their time in the sun.
hmm
I don't know. I gotta build them up, man, because I freaking love the Inquisition, and I gotta start playing them. So maybe I'll start piloting them soon.
There you go.
I literally, I've been collecting like old like Warhammer books recently on the side,
Ooh.
and I've got the original Inquisition rulebook, and I've got the Inquisition 2001 annual. So I think that's literally like all the published materials on that old game in it. And like they're the Death World veteran or whatever in this new kill team is like a direct rip of one of the characters in from the old Inquisition game. So I want to like go ahead and like kit bash entirely a complete kill team, but I've got them right here, so I've got to build them and paint them and just play these guys. I'm not going to have the time.
No, I'm excited. I hope that they fully come out as I hope that they get stronger. Like I said, I don't think I'll probably ever play the team because unfortunately I thoroughly dislike non-protagonist leaders. I really like really strong protagonists as my leaders.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
interrogator just having like an auto pistol.
Yeah, the fact that
What
he's
kind of crap is that?
The way I look at it is that character in particular, he's kind of like a detective.
Uh-huh.
He's literally a detective. So he's going to be like closer to just like a baseline human than anybody else on the team should be. And Inquisitors will augment their teams, of course, by going out and hiring like former bounty hunters, getting freaking gun servitors, like AdMech scribes or whatever, like Sisters of Battle or, Grey Knights, whatever, to put into their kill team. So they're just managers,
Okay.
they're just coaches
Fair enough.
for the team.
Fair enough.
That's how I justify it in my mind, at least, as to why this dude is so freaking weak.
Before we start rounding everything out, do you guys have any hopes or dreams for Kill Team? Like,
Oh,
do you guys hope something comes out like in the future that would be really cool? I can go first. Well,
Yeah,
you
you go
Go
first.
first.
I gotta
You still have
Obviously.
those
gotta
dreams.
organize my thoughts. regarding
Obviously, I have
this.
something in my mind. I would love to see. Firstly, I want to see Catachan. at some point in time. I think that they are bound to come out at some point in time for 40K. That's according to all the rumors, and it would make beautiful sense for them to come out and kill team. And I would also love to see another unexplored faction come out, the Dark Mechanicus. I would love to see those two come out in a war over, like Fern Gully, right? Like you have the Dark Mechanicus are trying to invade the Catachan and kill off their planet. It'd be sick. So, that would be my hope and dreams for the next box. But
Catachan are definitely due for a range refresh. They literally don't even make the models anymore, right?
Nope, they don't.
Yeah.
That's why my hopes and dreams are alive. My hopes and dreams were set on Striking Scorpions versus Catachan, but according to rumors, that has been dashed.
Would you be sad if they just released another Kill Team Vet Guard, but with different sculpts?
Like, no,
like an
I would.
upgrade sprue.
Like not an upgrade sprue, but like, right now they're currently the I can't remember the name. I see their heads.
The Krieg.
The Deathcore Krieg.
I hate Krieg. I
You
just
don't
think
like
they
Deathcore
have
Krieg?
no, bro. They have no personality. I mean, I get that's
They're
the point of the army.
Clones.
I know. But me, I play heroes, man. Like I want that personality. I want that.
Didn't you watch the trailer for Kill Team? That guy's got hella personality. He's on fire and he blows up the thing anyways, and he
That
dies
dude sacrificed himself
for the Emperor.
to take out that. You're telling me he's not a hero?
Damn.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, he is a hero. But what I'm saying is, I hope. I don't know what I'm saying.
You just want a team of like Arnold Schwarzenegger dudes running around.
That's all. That's what you have. So it's
yes.
fine.
Yeah.
But I want like rules for them. I don't want to have to depend on Steven Seagal, who's a bad man, to do in real life and
not in
the
like
game.
not in like the good way.
No, like my
hilarious.
joke.
I can't take him seriously because his whole life is just a
those
joke.
New movies he's come out with have been really funny to watch.
My joke is that he'll kill his own models and he kills your models because he's a bad man in the game and he's also a bad man outside the game. So it just makes sense that he's the demo man.
But like, anyway, so back to the Vet Guard. Like they would just release the different types of guards, like they had Morty and Iron Guard, they had the something sewer dogs.
That would be sick, bro.
Yeah,
like different factions for it. Yeah,
but
that
it's
would
the
be
same
really
team.
cool.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, that would add some variety.
The Morty and Iron Guard, I think, are a team that I am okay with being lost to time because they're like every single rule that comes out for them over the course of like the history of that team is like you'll line them up in a line and they get a bonus to like their shooting
for being in a line.
And it's like, yeah, I get it.
But I like the uniforms.
But it's like the uniforms are pretty snappy, but it's like
really I just want Ventrilian nobles.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing with the Vet Guard rules is like you can kit bash and like make whatever Imperial Guard team you want, and the rules will kind of
fit.
They're not like Krieg specific rules.
Yeah,
that's true.
Absolutely.
Like
so, technically, it already exists, but we just need to all play Space Nam, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. You could have a Catachan team and make it be like really about close combat, and getting into your face.
The Space Nam models are sick, by the way.
Dude, they are, man. I've seen some of them because Alex has some. They're dope.
The a team that I would like to see come to Kill Team would be the Tyranids. A Tyranid team.
Okay.
So the new like Death Leaper model is going to be coming out soon in 40K. So like maybe a team centered around that model with like maybe like a bunch of like the Van Ryan's Leapers. I think that could be pretty cool.
What size millimeter base is the Death Leaper on?
The Death Leaper, I think it might be on like a 50. It's either on a 50 or a 40, and then I think that the
I think
Van
that's
Ryan's
doable.
Leapers
right?
are on like a 32.
Yeah,
like the Norn Emissary. Obviously, you can't put something like that in the game. That model is
nuts.
That it's like as big as like a Dreadnought.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, having
It's
a
like
team of
Dreadnought
lictors.
size, so
Do you know how like
yeah,
a team of lictors would be so cool? It really
Yeah.
would.
Yeah, that would be. If they're like, because 50 makes sense. Because what I think the one Hyrotech Circle guy is on a 50.
I mean, what are the Gellerpox infected models on?
Oh, they're also on
Fucking
50s,
big.
Gotta be
right?
on 50s,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think they're 50s as
So
well.
I think it would work
Yeah, that
on
could
the
work.
board. And also, I know Tyranid players have been begging for a Tyranid team forever. Another team that I would want is World Eaters. I just want
Okay.
a bunch of just corn berserkers with chain axes and pistols, and they just get stuck in and kill, and then like maybe like 3 of them or something, and then like a bunch of like the new like jackal models.
And their archetype is infiltration.
No, their archetype would it would only have to be seek and destroy. Yeah.
Okay, blooded.
Is that theirs too, right? They only have seek and destroy?
Is it only seek and destroy?
Yeah,
Yeah, but this is different because there's Space Marine. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
so they'll play different enough. But yeah.
Yeah.
I've
That could be
been
fun.
the old 2018 kill team. I know Shane and I ran Chaos, and Matt Hurl ran Chaos too. And I think you could take like World Eaters, or I should say like Corn Berserkers in your team if you wanted to. And that's what they were taking in their teams a lot. So a little bit of nostalgia there, I guess.
How about you, G?
I want also Tyranids,
Space
but I
Marines.
want Gene Stealers.
Oh.
So they can fight Space Marine Terminators. I want another release of Space Hulk, but maybe put it into Kill Team. But the
So
Galadark's over, so that's not going to happen.
I mean,
There's
the
this
fact
great book out now. It's called the Kill Team Compendium.
Boo!
Inside, you'll find the rules where you can make an all Gene Stealer kill team. I don't know
way.
if you knew that.
which is bad, by the
But
way.
I
Your prayers
only
have
want-
been
I-
answered.
I
They
only
actually no, that is not true. Shane literally said on this very podcast that they can play into commandos.
Yeah, but I don't know how true that is. I mean, Jeremy from Plasma Spam played 5 Gene Stealers and 8 Hormagaunts with Acid Maws, and I was terrified. And he went 2-2 day 1. He actually did pretty well. He was undefeated for 2 games in a row, and then he played really well day 2. So Tyranids have play, but every time I've seen 10 Gene Stealers, if somebody knows how to, Giacomo, what is it called in 40K when you layer your defenses? Like a layered
Screening?
cake? Screening, yeah. If
Yeah.
you know how to screen out the Gene Stealers, I mean, unfortunately, any Space Marine or any like elite team is going to have a really hard time doing that. But if you know how to effectively screen, or at least place your models so they are screening, like you have a upper hand in that matchup. But like even the Tyranid Warriors are super good. It's a good compendium team. I just don't think 10 Gene Stealers are the way to go. Maybe into Commandos. I don't know. You might be right. I might be wrong. In fact, I probably am wrong. So, G, that you want Space Hulk re-released, huh?
Yeah, but it's not going to happen. We're past the Galadark. And actually, what I really want is in the new edition, or not edition, just the new season. I want new terrain, but maybe not all Imperium terrain, because that's we've done that. You know,
Yeah.
what's next?
I would want like Eldar Ruins or something.
Yeah, that could be fun, or a Tyranid
Is it-
Hive World, or weird shit like that.
Tyranid Hive World, yeah. That would be cool.
I would like to see. I don't want to say jungle. I would love to see like a forest.
Yeah, bring back the Death World Forest.
Yeah, dude.
Those
I haven't-
old awful trees that
They
I
were-
still have not assembled from the old Death
From
Watch
3rd edition?
kill team. No,
Yeah.
the old Death Watch kill team like faction box from
Oh, yeah?
2018 kill team. Yeah. Those are still unassembled and unpainted because they just do not go together well.
I think that I would like to see like. Do you guys remember 3rd edition? Not 3rd edition. 4th or 5th, where they had the old cities of death.
Yeah.
Nah, that was probably before my time.
Okay.
I'm 28, so
So outside of
way
Chalmouth,
before I got in the hobby.
so Chalmouth came out. I think I've been in this hobby for like 24 years or something. Chalmouth came out, and Chalmouth is beautiful. It's some beautiful terrain, but
hmm
the old terrain that GW used to make is way
yes.
better for
Yes.
Kill Team. It's
You are
way more
100% correct.
Yeah, way more modular, way better for climbing heights. You don't have to be like, everything is scalable because this is meant for 40K and we just made it for Kill Team because we have to sell more terrain. It's 3 inches tall, right? Like each level is 3 inches tall, so it's perfect height. Or it's 2.5 inches tall or something. Still perfect height. And then you can actually build it modularly so that you can actually have good vantages. You could have good walls. You can have doors. It's like the perfect terrain setup for Kill Team currently. I think it's probably the best terrains out there outside of my own. The best plastic for Kill Team, right? And I will stand by that. If there's any other good terrain out there, put it into our Discord because we'd like to see some other third-party stuff get some limelight. But yeah, Cities of Death for me, please. Or forests, jungle. Bring back the jungle.
Jungle and Catachans.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping and praying for.
I mean, yeah.
All right.
I think we're coming to that point, guys.
Absolutely. Ryan, you have a wonderful Discord, YouTube channel, and podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, one thing you didn't. Now, I'm going to ask you for your shout outs, but I don't think we caught your YouTube that you're going to be posting that to. Do you know
I think it's literally just like Millennium Games.
Okay, Millennium
Let me
Games.
see if I can find it. It literally has not been active for I do not know how long.
You're bringing it back
well
to life.
before. Yeah, that's literally like part of the reason why I'm doing that. But rest assured, like once that video comes out, I will be posting it everywhere
All right,
because
cool.
I think it's if you've enjoyed any of my painting videos in the past, it's very similar in that style. So yeah, be on the lookout for that one. I'll be posting it everywhere.
Nice. What else would you like to shout out, brother?
Man, well, I got to give a shout out to Shane for coming in second at Nova.
Hell yeah.
That was wild. I don't think either him or I expected him to make that deep a run. I mean, maybe I did. I don't think he did.
I did.
So congratulations to him for making it so deep. We're going to be having a podcast episode of our own coming out soon where we discuss his tournament run. What else do we got going on? I got to give a shout out to all of me and Shane's subscribers on YouTube and all of our Patreon supporters, because those guys and gals really help out a lot with the costs of putting out content and stuff like that. So big shouts out to those guys. Also, shout out Nick Craven.
Mhm.
He's an absolute dog. So that dude is just a born winner, man.
He is.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's on. You haven't heard it yet, but he's on this next week.
I know. I'm so excited to listen to it.
Yeah, he just has a beautiful voice. Hopefully, he starts his own podcast so I can listen to it every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, G? Is there anything you want to shout out?
Absolutely. Once again, I'd like to say thank you to the patrons. They help us out, just like I mentioned earlier. And you can find me on Instagram where I'm painting a bunch of kill teams. It's wargaming_studios. Again, that's wargaming_studios. And if you want to talk to us just on a regular basis, we're on the Squad Games Discord. Links in the show notes. You can hang out there, post crap about whatever, because we don't really moderate. Just kidding. We do moderate it, And yeah. and if you're looking to get anything from our affiliates at Frontline Gaming, feel free to use the link below. It's not just like product. You can also get like event tickets too, and that helps out.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going to LVO, you're going to SoCal Open coming up. Just saying.
So I'd like to shout out Game Envy. They make a wonderful wet palette.
Actually, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
That's my favorite hobby thing right now.
Mhm.
And it's just because I can put my phone on something while I'm painting.
Do you want to know something that they have as well that I've just picked up at Nova? They just got them in like the Tuesday before Nova. They got in brand new foam. So like it's extra wet underneath and it's the same foam on top. So it's a double layered foam. Like it's two different layers. And they also have new parchment paper that's 36 weight, like rather than I think 26. So it's thicker. So it doesn't curl. So that's super nice. This new stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So check those out. But also for when I'm bored, I'm going to shout out Jalel's marble runs on YouTube. Watching those marbles run down those racetracks and those dirt trails.
Oh, that's what's
My
up.
guy.
They're
those,
fun as hell, right?
Yeah. And watching the Olympics for like 2.5, 3 hours, like in the middle of the night. That's my jam.
You should go to bed, man.
I feel like they should do it live, and then some kind of sports book needs to pick them up. That way I can bet on what color marble I want.
You know what's funny is that actually when COVID was happening and none of the live sports were happening, this motherfucker was on ESPN. Shit you not. Marbles racing down tracks, bro. It was dope.
Yeah.
Shows you the depths that ESPN had to sink to. But still,
Dude, they had
I enjoyed
gathering
it.
ones.
The Ocho coming to the main channel.
But yeah, all right, fellas. Well, I'm gonna head out, go put my baby to bed, and I appreciate you guys.
I'm gonna go feed my cat. See you guys.
Thanks for having me on, guys. See ya.
The Squad Games podcast is a production of Squad Games Entertainment. For more information on Squad Games, please visit our website at lestersworkshop.com/squad-games.